Hi everyone, welcome to End of the World Weekly. Let me tell you how this show works. I'm Newsbot 29000. I'm a robot from the post-apocalyptic future. I've been programmed to send these broadcasts into the past in hopes that you Earth humans can avoid all the calamities that led to the end of the world. Okay, got it? Good. So let me tell you about some of your current events and how they spiral out of control and bring about the apocalypse. Monday morning, someone in the Trump administration leaked that the Donald would host Chinese President Xi Jinping at his Mar-a-Lago estate in early April. After all of his criticisms of China during the presidential campaign, one could only assume that Trump had invited the Chinese president solely to play a number of April Fool's pranks on the foreign leader. But Trump didn't know a thing about being funny and accidentally scheduled the meeting a full week late of April Fool's Day. And while the Chinese leader was there, the only trick Trump played was the classic "you slept on a pea-covered mattress" prank. Jinping did not see the humor in the prank and declared war on the orange fool. On Monday, a female Texas lawmaker introduced a satirical anti-masturbation bill that parodied the real Texas laws and healthcare restrictions faced by Texas women every Texas legislative session. The bill placed a $100 fine on emissions outside of a woman's vagina to be deposited in a fund in order to assist in the assertion of the importance of the sanctity of life. The bill was meant to be a joke, but quickly began to gain steam after its introduction, and eventually passed into law. Shortly after the law took effect, Texas saw its industry and productivity tank, before bouncing back and soaring to new heights never before imagined. Texas men started working 2, 3, or even 4 jobs, just so they could pony up the $100 and pay the fine a couple of times a week. Last Sunday, Iowa Congressman Steve King wanted to remind everyone that he only liked white people when he tweeted, "We can't restore our civilization with somebody else's babies," which begs the question, in 2017, what about Western civilization needed to be restored? It was pretty much at its peak at the time. On Monday, the Republican congressman went on to clarify that he'd like to see an America that was just so homogenous that everybody looked a lot the same. And just like the yogurt he stole his big word from, King wanted that look to be white all the way through. This Steve King guy was such a small, angry man, and it all stemmed from him just wanting to be known as Stephen King. But unfortunately for all of you guys, that name was already taken. After months of saying how bad they were at their jobs, on Monday, Trump gave the CIA the authority to conduct deadly drone strikes without consulting him. Trump said he changed his mind about the spy agency after sitting down with them and discussing the importance of information gathering, and it had absolutely nothing to do with the recordings of Trump Tower the CIA had received through Trump's microwave. All of the whining Trump did about Trump Tower having its wires tapped was Trump covering up the fact that he's actually the one that had it bugged. With Melania living in New York while he lived in DC, Trump wanted to be able to watch her every move, lest she escape back to Eastern Europe. And this way, if Melania ever discovered any of the spying devices, Donald could continue to blame Obama. The only problem was that Trump had a bit of a habit putting his name in big block letters on everything he owned. And that brings us to our Alternative Facts of the Week segment. Let's get started. Alternative fact number 1. A large superpod of humpback whales gathered off the coast of South Africa this week. Humpbacks were usually solitary creatures, so this many gathering in one spot was very strange to scientists. An explanation was provided a few days later when Cthulhu rose from the watery depths. As it turned out, the humpbacks were performing an ancient ritual to wake the Great Old One. Alternative fact number 2. Wanting to quit their job in style, on Thursday, McDonald's social media manager used the company's Twitter account to say that Trump was disgusting and had tiny hands. Realizing that this could affect their future job prospects, the person quickly deleted the tweet and blamed it on the account being hacked. Alternative fact number 3. A Fox News commentator continued to test how much influence the cable network had on the Trump administration by claiming that the top British spy agency wiretapped Trump because Obama asked them to. After the president's press secretary repeated the accusations, Fox News knew that they could convince the administration of anything. It was around this time The cable network suggested the government should provide all television broadcasters with free Burger King for life and that they shouldn't get in trouble for speeding ever again. Alternative fact number 4. Friday was St. Patrick's Day, and while the rest of America was celebrating Irish stereotypes, ICE was rounding up all of the leprechauns living in the country and deporting them to Ireland. Alternative fact number 5. A 26-year-old man carrying 2 cans of pepper spray tried to break into the White House early Saturday morning. The man had read up on the latest Pizzagate conspiracies and was trying to save the children that he was certain were being held in underground bunkers to be used in the infamous pedophile ring. If you have any alternative facts you'd like to hear on the show, feel free to leave them in the comments, and then I'll pick the ones I like and read them next week. Top cliche of the week: an ultra-conservative Oklahoma state senator was charged with 3 felonies last week. The 35-year-old senator was found in a motel with drugs and a teenage boy who he had propositioned for sex. The politician campaigned as an anti-abortion champion of family values. Meanwhile, he had been running all over the state, paying for any male prostitute he could afford. With your tax dollars, Oklahoma! Well, that does it for this episode of End of the World Weekly. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to leave any comments here or on our Twitter feed, and those will be put into the bottom of the scrolling text in next week's episode. Thanks again for watching. Bye!
Delicious.